Hello, I'm Hua and today we're going to be talking about Broca's area, which is in the left hemisphere. So Broca's area is a crucial brain region responsible for speech production, language processing, and motor aspects of communication. It is located in the left hemisphere of the brain, primarily within the posterior part of the inferior frontal gyrus, the IFG. It was first identified by Paul Broca in the 19th century. Damage to this area can result in Broca's aphasia, a condition characterized by impaired speech production while comprehension remains largely intact. This lecture will cover anatomy, functions, neural connections, disorders, and contemporary research on Broca's area, including debates over its role in syntax, motor function, and cognitive control. Anatomy of Broca's area. Location and structure. Broca's area is located in the left hemisphere, typically within Brodmann areas 44 and 45 of the inferior frontal gyrus, or IFG. It is asymmetrical, with a larger representation in the dominant hemisphere, usually the left and right-handed individuals. It's closely linked to the primary motor cortex, specifically the motor regions controlling facial and articulatory muscles. The subdivisions. We have Brodmann area 44, which is more involved in phonological processing and motor control of speech, and Brodmann area 45, which plays a key role in syntactic processing and higher-level language functions. The functional roles of Broca's area. Speech production. It generates and coordinates motor commands for speech articulation. It works with the primary motor cortex to control laryngeal, tongue, and facial movements. It also is responsible for language processing, which includes syntax and grammar, which processes sentence structure and word order rules. Word retrieval, which aids in selecting and retrieving words for spoken languages. And phonological encoding. It converts thoughts into spoken language patterns. Working memory and cognitive control. It plays a role in verbal working memory and sentence planning. It's involved in inner speech and subvocal rehearsal, crucial for reading and complex problem solving. Interaction with other brain regions. Wernicke's area, which is in the temporal lobe, for comprehension and meaning, and the primary motor cortex for articulatory control, basal ganglia and cerebellum for speech fluency and rhythm, and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or the DLPFC, for cognitive control over language processing. The neural circuits of Broca's area. Arcuate facilicus, that's still a hard word to pronounce, which is Broca-Wernicke's pathway. It connects Broca's area with Wernicke's area in the superior temporal gyrus. It's essential for production and comprehension of spoken language. And we have the corticobulbar tract, which sends motor commands to the cranial nerves responsible for speech articulation. We also have the frontal striatal circuit, which connects Broca's area with the basal ganglia to regulate speech initiation and fluency. Disorders associated with Broca's area's dysfunction. Broca's aphasia, which is expressive aphasia. Symptoms are impaired speech production, which is slow, effortful, and non-fluent speech. Comprehension remains largely intact, but complex sentences may be difficult. Writing a repetition may also be affected. The causes are stroke, traumatic brain injury, and neurodegeneration. Apraxia of speech. Difficulty planning and coordinating the motor sequences needed for speech. It often co-occurs with Broca's aphasia. Stuttering and motor speech disorders. Some evidence suggests that dysfunction in Broca's area connectivity contributes to stuttering and other speech production difficulties. Neurological and neurodegenerative conditions. Parkinson's disease can affect Broca's area's role in motor aspects of speech. Frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, may lead to progressive language deterioration. Contemporary and controversial research. Broca's area and syntax, the grammar debate. Traditional view. Broca's area is primarily responsible for syntactic processing. Modern controversy. Some studies suggest syntax is distributed across multiple brain regions rather than localized to Broca's area. Is Broca's area only about language? Emerging research suggests Broca's area is involved in non-linguistic motor planning and action recognition. Some argue that Broca's area is part of a domain general sequencing network, meaning it could be involved in planning hand movements, tool use, and even music perception. Brain plasticity and language recovery. Neuroplasticity allows language functions to shift after Broca's area damage, for example, right hemisphere compensation in stroke patients. The controversy is, to what extent can therapy restore full language function, and how does the brain reorganize after injury? The brain-computer interfaces for BCIs for speech restoration. Recent advancements in BCIs have enabled paralyzed individuals to communicate using direct neural signals from Broca's area. Ethical concerns arise regarding enhanced speech abilities via neural implants. The conclusion. Broca's area remains one of the most important and studies regions in neuroscience, central to speech production and grammar processing. However, ongoing debates regarding its role in syntax, motor functions, and nonverbal cognition continue to reshape our understanding of language networks. The key takeaways are that Broca's area is essential for speech production and syntactic processing. Damage results in Broca's aphasia, characterized by non-fluent speech. It is connected to Wernicke's area via the arcuate facilitus. Please bear with me on that word. I don't know why. It trips me up. Forming part of the language network. Recent research challenges the notion that Broca's area is solely dedicated to language. BCI research suggests that exciting possibilities for speech restoration, but it does raise a whole host of ethical concerns. Discussion questions. Does Broca's area handle only language, or does it play a broader role in motor sequencing? Can the brain fully recover from Broca's aphasia, and what factors influence language reorganization? And should brain-computer interfaces be used for speech augmentation in healthy individuals?